Hi, everyone. I am starting the recording and this entire session over. So I think I screwed up. So if I did, uh, please excuse me. If I didn't, please bear with me. Sometimes these things happen. It's Marcia Martin, the Heart Healer. I'm so delighted to welcome you here and just to share with you this topic about a healthy relationship with money. Money is one of the things that can be so tough. So today we're going to look at what money is and who we should be in relationship to the money. And as always, my guides are going to help us through this entire thing. This is so big that I really want us to be able to examine this further. So I'm going to be teaching a class on this. I don't know when because I want more information on this subject. I need to spend more time getting this information and fully understanding what's behind an unhealthy money relationship before I can share it with you. So, watch your email if you're on my email list. If you're not, please sign up. And there'll be an announcement in our Facebook group, Heal Our Hearts. If you're a member of the group, you will see that as well. This is a class that those of us who live here on the earth have to use money, probably need. But I'm going to make sure it is the best presentation that I can do. So, happy 4th to everyone who's living here in the U.S. It's Independence Day for us. Let's get started on our independence from money. Okay, so our guides are sharing with us the secret to creating a healthy relationship with money. Dear ones, for many of you, money has become a negative or taboo subject that has become associated with a negative experience. It's time for you to understand what money is. Then you must comprehend why you should develop a relationship with money. And finally, you must understand how to properly identify with and use the money you manifest. Don't allow yourselves to fear what you perceive money to be or continue to create a misguided relationship with that which is in essence merely a tool. Now, I will be quite honest. My entire childhood, I had such an incredible fear of money. We were not lacking money, but I had learned, I think, perhaps one Bible phrase and didn't even learn that correctly. But I had learned that the love of money was evil and I enjoyed being a saver. So I was constantly in a state of confusion because I couldn't reconcile my desire to save money and watch my little piggy bank get fat and the fact that God told me that that was a bad thing to do. So let's continue because there was no answer to that question for a long time. And let's see how they help us with this. But if you were ever the child or, excuse me, if you were ever the child, the adult, the anywhere along your way person who got confused by some of this stuff that is out there, don't worry. We're going to clear it all up, and much of it is incorrect. So they continue. Yes, money is a tool. No, money is not scarce, nor hard to come by. And yes, you should adjust your attitude concerning money accordingly. Yet, before we go forward, let us address one of the misquoted passages of all time. Money is the root of all evil. Oh, and look at that. I had learned it so well that when I shared it with you earlier, just a moment ago, I said, I gave it away and said it correctly. I had learned money is the root of all evil, that money was inherently bad, and I was bad for having it. So, the most misquoted passage, money is the root of all evil. When quoted this way, it sounds as if God is saying, have nothing to do with money unless you're choosing to be evil. However, since God is part of everything and everything is a part of God, this would be the same as saying, don't touch certain parts of myself, for they are evil. When we begin looking at things that we have misunderstood in their totality, we can begin to get a handle on the confusion. We can't take a bit and piece of something that we believe we know and say, oh, now we have the whole thing and we can make an accurate judgment. So, try to gather the entire thing before you start off down the rabbit hole. The divine is unconditional love. So this is an impossibility. It is impossible for God to have created something that is so evil that God would not want you touching it, engaging it, or having a healthy relationship with it. That can't happen. However, this erroneous thinking leads to much confusion, and rightly so. You may have heard or have thought to yourself, if money is evil, why does today's lifestyle, even the most modest one, require money to survive? Why can't we just barter? Why is God punishing us? Why do the wicked always acquire so much money? And lastly, if you're rich, you're evil. None of these statements, including the first misquoted biblical passage, are entirely true. It is true some people are both wealthy and evil. However, some poor people are also evil. Money, or the lack of it, has never corrupted anyone. It's their thoughts about themselves and others, as well as their unhealed emotional baggage, that's causing them to act unsuitably. So there is nothing in our world that we can point our fingers at and say, well, if it wasn't for that, I would be okay. You are okay now. You will be okay even if that thing continues to exist, as long as you do the work to heal the trauma that has caused the problem in the first place. So sorry, guys. Anybody that is acting badly because of money or because of the lack of money, we have to remember it's their choice and they can fix the problem whenever they choose, whether or not they have a pocket full of money. We must remember, if somebody says, oh, I would behave better, but I don't have the money to get help. Help is as close as your next breath. If you are willing to do the work to open a connection to God, God will honor you by helping you. It will take more work on your part because you're not paying anyone to help you understand and create a shortcut and make it easier. But it can be done. So nothing is ever standing between you and a healthy relationship with yourself and everyone and everything around you except your attitude. So if money is not the problem, then what is? First, misquoting a spiritual passage and trying to follow the bastardized version of divine inspiration will always lead to confusion and complications. We cannot try to follow something that God did not say and expect that we're going to get it right. The passage was originally written to state, "The love of money is the root of all evil." Simply put, this means when you love money more than the divine, yourself, or others, you've placed all of your attention on an energetic stream that has no wisdom, no power of discernment, and no intelligence. Okay, when they said that, it made me really sit back for a minute because I realized how much, first in my youth, then in my early years before I even began on this path, how much power I had been giving to money. It, in my life, was able to do things I couldn't do. I was almost acting as if that piece of paper had a brain, arms, and legs and could jump out of my wallet and go do things for me that I wasn't willing to do. And now I look back on that, I think, whoa, what was I thinking? But I had assigned money a lot of power. We ask that you learn to think of money as a tool. Nothing more, nothing less, just a stream of energy that when it takes physical form can be used to buy things. Without you, money can do nothing. Money has no power to act on its own. Let's compare money to a hammer. Held in your hand and used on a nail, a hammer is an effective tool and extremely helpful. But without your attention and action, the hammer is simply inert and capable of doing nothing. It just is. And that's what we need to understand. Money is a tool just like the hammer, and it too just is. Money cannot hurt you. Money cannot help you. It can't do anything until you assign its value. Until you approach it and use it, it does nothing. Just like the hammer, your attitude determines the value of money. Used for the purpose of building, the hammer is a positive tool, but it can also be used as a weapon and become a negative tool. If you fear, are in awe of, or worship money, then you've created a negative relationship with money, and you'll always approach from a standpoint of lack. Here's where the big problem is. All of us, unless we've been traumatized by a hammer, can go up to the hammer and pick it up and look at it and say, a hammer is a tool useful for building, and feel nothing. No panic, no rush of adrenaline, nothing. But the minute we walk up to money, unless we have somehow created a wonderfully healthy relationship, we can start feeling all sorts of trauma. And we start assigning qualities and properties to the money that don't exist. And all of them are centered in a feeling of lack. And it doesn't matter whether your pockets are overflowing with money or you have a couple of coins in your pocket. When you have a negative relationship with money, when you feel that money is something that you are not, you are coming from a standpoint of lack. When you believe that money has power, you do not. You are coming from the place of lack. There will never be enough, no matter how much you have. If money is viewed as having a power all its own, as long as the money's in control, there will never be enough. Money is inert. Money is a tool. You assign its power and value. Many of you now protest loudly that money has an assigned value before you receive it. Bills are marked in different denominations, and unless you have the proper denomination, your money is worthless. Yet again, we must ask, are you sure? If you do not have one piece of paper that has a 100 stamped on it, but you have 100 pieces of paper that have a $1 stamped on them, you have an equal amount. We want your attitude to reflect this truth. Money is not in scarce supply. There is no lack of money. There can never be, because money is simply energy, and energy can never be destroyed, merely transformed. There is no lack of energy money. There is only the belief that it's possible for there to be a lack of money. Before there can be a lack of any kind of energy, and then the energy will be transformed into a physical object, we must be in agreement that this energy can be lacking. Energy is just energy. We can't destroy it, although oftentimes our bad mental attitudes are enough to make it feel like it has been destroyed. It can simply be transformed. So since there's nothing that we can do to destroy the money energy that we have, a good attitude will help us receive and accept more money energy back into our lives. It's the belief that it's possible that's causing there to be a lack of money in your life. Now, this is so simple. Let's take a moment and really hear it. It's more the process is more complicated, but the belief is always simple. There can never be a lack of money energy. If we get a hold of that belief and change it from it's possible that there can be a lack of money to since money is energy and energy is everywhere, there can never be a lack of money energy around me, you will begin creating or formulating the basis for a healthy relationship with money. There can never be a lack of energy, but there can be a lack of correct thinking. If you hold the limiting belief, I never have enough money, it will be impossible for you to ever have what you consider to be more than enough money. Just can't do it. You cannot have two conflicting thoughts with both of them winning. The more dominant thought will always win. So if your most dominant thought is, I never have enough money, or I will never have enough money, and way back in your brain somewhere, you have a little voice saying, money is energy, that's not enough to knock out of your mind the limiting belief that you've been practicing. So the money energy is not going to be front and center. The lack is going to be front and center. and we get what we think about. Even if you were successful at attracting the money, you would create a way to eliminate the excess so your belief system would be true. If you hold the negative thought, money is evil, you will only be able to have money in your pocket if you were either evil and comfortable with that behavior, or you had a means to dispose of the money. You would never allow yourself the feeling of security of having extra money unless you felt comfortable being labeled evil. Now, very few people are comfortable with that kind of label, even though every person is capable of unconditional love. Some people slip away into the darkness and that becomes such a part of their being that they can no longer feel their connection to the divine. They no longer feel as though they have or can have loving relationships with anyone else, including themselves. So there is a way to go so dark that you can consider and be seen by others as evil. However, always, 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 there is a way back. No one is ever so far into the darkness that God cannot see you and that the divine is not with you. But remember, our free will says that we must be willing to open to the divine before the divine will step in and take any action. We have proven to you that money cannot be evil because it has no power of its own. However, worshiping money as if it's a god with secret powers does promote evil thinking and behavior. When you believe money has a secret power and you long to be powerful, or you desire to protect yourself or your loved ones, and you believe money has the power to make that possible, you may do or say evil things to acquire money. If you hold the belief that money is hard to acquire, then you'll be tempted to take shortcuts to have the power and possessions that are being denied you, and you'll be able to justify your behavior because money has the power, whereas you have no power. Let's take a look at that for a minute. When you assign money a value and a power and a strength it doesn't have, it in turn can cause you to do things you would never do otherwise. Let's say your child is sick and you don't have a healthy relationship with money. You believe that money is hard to come by, and perhaps you're already working 2 jobs. Perhaps you're a single mother or a single father, and there is no one you can go to for support. And you truly believe that something terrible is going to happen if your child doesn't get this medical care. It would not surprise me to hear that you had tried to rob somebody or steal the money in some way, that you had done something that you would otherwise consider off limits because you were so frightened for your child and you believed that there was no other way to get the money. You were already working as many hours as you possibly could, and you were in a state of emergency that justified any kind of behavior. That happens when we have an unhealthy relationship with money, when you give your power away. Once you understand that money is energy, that you can create it at will, that's hard for us to understand. We can create money at will? This thing that we go to jobs for in order to be paid, and oftentimes the jobs are not ones that we like, we could create money at will? And the answer is absolutely. Perhaps not from where you are right now with the energy frequency that you're emitting. But if you get to yourself to the highest place, a place that has no doubt and no uncertainty, to the place where you realize that you are one with the divine, you will be able to create at will anything you desire. But you really have to work on who you are and your relationship and get rid of all of that trauma before that can become a reality for you. I'm not there yet, but I'm working on it. Once you realize that the only power that exists lies within you, and once you understand that the only one standing between you and your dreams is your limiting beliefs and your unhealed trauma, then you'll begin to establish a healthy, balanced relationship with money. Excuse me, guys. Let me get a drink. There is so much here. There is so much that we can do. Please stop assigning money any kind of power, any kind of wisdom, any kind of ability to do for you something you can't do for yourself, and begin putting it in your toolbox. It is the only place that it needs to exist in your mind is in the toolbox compartment. You need neither save it for a rainy day or spend it quickly before it's gone. You need merely to use it to bring to yourself a quality of life that feels good to you, not one that matches someone else's standards, but the one that feels best to you and allows you to spend the most time in the highest vibration of love, joy, and peace. It doesn't matter if having $1 in your pocket makes you feel like you've got more money than Croesus, or whether you need $100,000 in your pocket to feel as though you've got enough to get through the day. It doesn't matter. It matters how you feel about it. And I know that I harp on this over and over and over again every week, but I do it because it is your ticket to freedom. If you can get in touch with how you are feeling and take responsibility for how you are feeling, you have your ticket to paradise. Because it's the way you're feeling about it that is going to manifest either what you want or what you don't want. You cannot manifest more money in your pocket if you are feeling angry and uncomfortable around money. That will repel any money attraction energy that you're putting out. Money would say, "Are you kidding? Why would I come to you? You act like I am the worst piece of scum." Instead, feel good about money. Recognize that it's just energy, that it is a tool, and identify for yourself, what are the things that I would do for myself if I had more money? perhaps you would get yourself into a place where you would be living in an environment in which it felt good to you or it just felt ideal to you. That would be an excellent use of your money, because from that place of feeling good, you could create even bigger and bigger money miracles in your own life. And then perhaps you may have a whole list of other things that you would like to buy or gift to yourself if money suddenly became available to you. But don't stop there. Once you've gotten clear in your mind what it is that you would like for you, the things that would feel good to you, and you must put yourself first. You must love yourself first, because it's your vibration that needs to get right. So make your list of all the things that you would like for yourself. First, sit with it, decide whether it feels great. Don't worry that it sounds selfish. I'll explain that in a minute. Just get it down. Get it excited about it. Get feeling good about it. And then you may think, okay, I've already acquired everything I could want. It's time to go higher. How can I begin helping other people with all of this money that I'm going to manifest? And now you could make yourself a new list. And then you may say, okay, I'm ready to go even higher. I'm ready to become part of the global community. What would I do if I had enough money to be part of the global community, one of those shakers and movers that's really making a difference? And then you may have a third column. And that would give you the opportunity to see, yes, I need money for myself. I desire certain things, and some of them are needs. Food and water are certainly needs, clothing. But then we can get excited about desires too. And then once I've satisfied that area of my life, well, I'm so good at manifesting money. I'm so clear that it's a tool. I have my vibration so finely aligned, I can begin helping other people. And then once I've really scaled the mountain of helping other people and gotten even better at controlling my money vibration and making sure that it's always set to prosperity, I'll get into the global game. I will become so good at this that I will be able to help the world at large. That is a really healthy money mind. You do not need to do any of these things. The only thing that you are required to do is to help yourself. The thing that will always make us feel better is to reach beyond ourselves. Once we've met our own basic needs and we're not in a state of desperation, once we have met those needs, we will all, every single one of us, even the one who is lost in the darkness, will feel better reaching out and helping another person. It's the way we're wired. First of all, we're all connected as one large energetic signature, I guess. I can't think what we are. One energy cloud. We're all in the same cloud. We have individual signatures, but we have this one overarching signature. So when we reach out and help others, it feels good. However, those of us who grew up learning things like money is the root of all evil may have also grown up in families that said, be of service, be of service, be of service. And they left out another crucial part of be of service, and that is be of service first to yourself and get yourself right. Organize your own house first, so that when you go out into the world, you will do so without destroying the very valuable one that is you. Money is a tool to be commanded by your desires. It is not a powerful force that has control over your well-being. Take charge of your life by adjusting your thinking so you can earn and spend the amount of money that feels best to you. Now, let's take a look back at all we've got here, all they've shared with us. And remember, questions, concerns, *2. Please don't sit there being confused or worrying or wondering. But first, let's take a look back at all they've shared. Money is the root of all evil versus the love of money is the root of all evil. Well, that had been such a thorn in my side as a child that I actually went and looked up the correct Bible passage, because I never had memorized more than that little bit. That little bit had gotten stuck. Money is the root of all evil. And then when I heard it accurately quoted, the love of money is the root of all evil, I still never had the whole passage. I just had a whole heck of a lot more knowledge than I had a few minutes before, once I understood it was the love and not the money. But the whole thing says, for the love of money is a source of all kinds of evil. I took this from the Good News translation, which is often easier to understand. Some have been so eager to have it that they have wandered away from the faith and have broken their hearts with many sorrows. This was 1 Timothy 6:10. Now, this is from the Bible, a religious text. And I'm sure that in other religious texts there are things similar. So they will always phrase it according to faith and their particular way of seeing things. They are encouraging people to grow in the belief system that feels good to them, to the writer, in this case Timothy. So that's why they have said, some have been so eager to have it, they have wandered away from the faith. Let's put it in words that are non-denominational. So the love of money is a source for all kinds of evil. Some have been so eager to have it that they have wandered away from who they really are as a person, from feeling good about themselves and being willing to do anything in order to acquire money. And then many sorrows knocked on their door, because we get what we think about and what our actions are returned to us. So if you believe money has magical properties, or that money has its own power that will be transferred to you if you have money, and you feel desperate to have that magical power, you may be tempted to say hurtful things. Desperation attracts more to be desperate about. Desperation makes you feel powerless, victimized, and entitled. You may say things like, I deserve the money they have. And then suddenly it's easy to lie, cheat, steal, perhaps even murder. Believing that something that other than ourselves has the power is a mind trick that leads to desperation. We've got to get clear. It is us and us alone that have the power. We have to be that responsible. Anything else is just foolish. So when they say wandering away from the faith, How do we do that in our daily lives? Anytime you become emotionally and psychologically attached to someone or something, it can become an object of worship. Remember, we're talking broad faith. And at this point, I'm just talking about your life in general. Anything that you worship can become a religion of sorts. So anytime you assign it a power that it doesn't possess, in terms of people, it can be your spouse, your partner, your boss, your principal, anybody that you think is too powerful or that can hurt you in some way. Or it can be a worship of objects, money, skills, possessions. But all of this is unhealthy. We want to have healthy relationships. We don't want to worship even a rock star, any of those people, entertainers, athletes. We don't want to worship them as though they are something we are not. They may have a skill that we don't possess. They may have some position in the workplace that at the moment is greater than ours, but they are not something we cannot ever be and that we are not. We are not less. People can hold powerful positions, but that positions that are more powerful than you or where you are at the moment, but that doesn't make them better than you or having more of a needing to be worshipped in some way. They can be respected because they have the power and they have the potential to do something to you that could be unpleasant as long as you realize I am equal to this person. However, they are in a position of authority or power like a policeman, and so I will be respectful. I will not believe myself to be less, but I will be respectful because I don't want to put myself in a position where this person would want to hurt or harm me. We have to remember if the thing is more important than your thoughts about yourself and others and or your relationship with the divine, you can become open to false belief systems and negativity. The power that you assign to the something or the someone, we have to make sure that it is not assigning them a value they should never possess, especially when we're talking about money. But you see how this can be happening in all areas of your life. Nothing of a high vibration can be attracted from the low vibration of negativity. So we must stop putting money in the category of low vibration. Money is it just is. Think of it as our hammer. It doesn't emit a high or low vibration. You assign that to it. Get to your high place and call for money from your high place so that you are able to do for yourself and others. Your high place is love, joy, and peace where you are feeling good. Money is just energy. Money holds no secret power. It's just a tool. Remember, they told us there's no scarcity. We can prove that because there's no scarcity of energy. Since our thoughts form energy into things, with the correct thought pattern, you could become a money printing press if you so desired. Or you could create out of thin air whatever money can buy. Money is never the problem. It's blamed often enough for every problem, but it's our attitude, our belief system and our relationship with money that lies at the heart of every difficulty. Money is just sitting there doing nothing, literally nothing, until you come along and ask it to do something or do something with it. On its own, it can't do anything. Your attitude, your relationship, and your decisions about how you're going to use it allow money to take on form. You can decide to use money to buy a bomb and blow up people in a train station. That's not a very nice use of money. We would probably put you at that point in the evil category. But you could also take that same amount of money and buy medicines for children who were very sick and were not able to afford it. Then we may put you in the saint category because you had chosen to do something that would be helpful with that extra money that you manifested instead of harmful. A negative relationship with money can only produce lack. You cannot go from the place of I don't have enough to, oh, look, I just found $5. The only place you will go from when you insist that you do not have enough is the place of I have now even more less than enough. That didn't come out quite right, but if you believe you don't have enough, you're only going to have less. You will never be able to attract more. Your belief is what's responsible for this lack of money. The lack of money is not responsible for the belief. So we cannot confuse ourselves and tell ourselves, when I have more money, I'm going to believe that I'm great at manifesting. Or that money doesn't have any special power. Until then, I'm going to believe that money is so important and so powerful. I'll change my belief after I have money. Listen to what you're saying to yourself. Take a moment to hear it, and then adjust your thinking and belief system accordingly. Go into the heart. Do the work. Clear it out. Let go of any trauma that may have been money related. Let go of any belief system that may have been handed down from your parents, no matter how well-meaning they may have been, or any adult in your energetic sphere. Don't hang on to it because they were a nice person or a well-meaning person. Clear out their negative and limiting beliefs from your heart and begin acquiring beliefs that work for you and not against you. Because if your belief says there's never enough, it will simply be impossible for you to gather enough. Until you change that belief, you will not allow it to happen. We adjust our circumstances to mirror our beliefs. The belief is the master. The circumstance is the servant. The circumstance must match the belief. Cannot happen another way. If something happens in front of you that you believe is impossible to happen, you will convince yourself it did not happen. Or you will change your belief. But we cannot allow things that we believe cannot be. So, notice yourself in your conversation. We always justify, defend, and adhere to our beliefs until something comes along that is so radical that we're willing to examine those beliefs and change them, we will justify, defend, and adhere to those same beliefs. So we must examine our beliefs regularly. Get into the heart, take them out and take a look at them. Do I still find this to be true? Run them through the truth meter of your heart. How do I really feel about this? What is my heart telling me about this? Is it time for me to adjust this belief? Am I hurting myself and others by holding this belief? Eliminate the false thinking before you can prosper. Now, I grew up in a home, and I'm sure that many of you may have, where I had parents who were parented by Depression-era parents. There were not a whole lot of prosperity beliefs hanging around that home. My parents were far enough out of it, and my grandparents had not been hit hard enough by it to really have held on to any of these beliefs, but it was still in their speech. So I would hear things like, you have to save for a rainy day. Well, that is really good thinking. It's good to have a savings account or to have a fallback account. But why does it have to be for a disaster, for a rainy day, for something unpleasant? How about saving for my dream vacation or to give something wonderful to someone? When we come at it from this negative backward attitude, we make it so hard on ourselves. There was one member of the family who used to run around saying, God knows when you get again. And so they were always collecting. They would eat even if they were not hungry, if someone offered them food. They would do jobs that they didn't necessarily want to do so they could collect the money because God knows when you get again. And it just created such a negative relationship for them with money that they were always scrambling. So we can either be the person who is almost hoarding in their desire to hold on to money, not letting it go without really looking at it and determining whether it's okay, and not enjoying the use of their money. Or we can have the spendthrift mentality. If you are hoarding it, if you're unable to let it go, you do not love yourself. You have no belief in your ability to get more. However, if you're of the spendthrift mentality, you don't like yourself either. You feel that you'll buy yourself something to make yourself feel better. Either way is unhealthy. One way, you're refusing to buy yourself anything. You don't deserve it. The other way, you're buying yourself or friends everything, trying to make yourself feel better. Either way, you're out of balance. Get back to the middle. Get back to loving yourself. Do the work of the heart to clear the limiting beliefs. Begin loving yourself and learn to establish a healthier relationship with money. As we close now, I want to share one story with you that I read in the book Autobiography of a Yogi, and that was Yogananda's book about his life and how he came to his wonderful place of just knowing the divine. Well, he said that early on in his studies with his yogi, they went to a temple to pray. And they had been there in deep prayer and meditation for quite some time. And then he realized that he was getting quite hungry, that the hour was becoming quite late. And in India, you apparently can order a lunch to be served at whatever temple that you may be. It's quite normal for people to go and to have huge feasts that are delivered to them at whatever temple where they may be worshiping or praying. And so Yogananda was becoming quite agitated with his guru because he said, oh, he has absolutely no thought about me. He should have ordered a lunch. He should have made it easy for us to fill our bellies. We've been here. We've been in prayer and supplication for all this time. And now I'm really hungry. And he is not even considerate enough to order lunch. And it got later. And it got later. And his belly was getting hungrier and hungrier. And he was becoming angrier and angrier. And finally, he became so upset that he went to his yogi and said, and I'm sorry, I forget how he addresses him. Let's say it's Master. Master, I don't understand why we did not bring a lunch or order a lunch. Can we go now and have some food? I'm becoming quite hungry. I'm so hungry that I feel that I may faint. And the yogi replied to him something along the lines of, why are you sitting there hungry? Why didn't you just manifest the food? Don't you understand that food is merely energy? And with that, he swirled his hand around in the air, and a feast was instantly brought forward for them. The yogi was so good at understanding that everything is energy and staying in that high place where we are all connected with the divine, that when they wanted a feast of all these delectable dishes, the only thing that he needed to do was match his desire with the energy and then swirl the energy together, I guess. As I said, I don't know how to do that yet. So that it became solid physical objects. And then there they were, feasting on this wonderful food. It was always there. Yogananda could have done it as well. We could do it. If we can move ourselves up to the place where our vibration matches exactly the vibration of the divine, and then all we need to do is create the desire for something to materialize, give energy to its ability to become solid physical form, and believe that it is possible. And just like Yogananda, you will be sitting down to a feast of your own making. He sat down and ate the feast that yogi presented to him. That no one went anywhere to get that food. But it's no different than if there was someone who was preparing the food and bringing it. It just matched their belief system. The yogi had the belief system that he could materialize the food, and he did. He manifested the food because he became one with the energy and was able to call it to himself. We all need to get to that place, becoming one with the energy to such a degree that we're able to manifest it right where we are instantaneously. That requires a clear, clean heart, not holding on to any negativity or limiting beliefs. It requires an open, clear communication with the divine. And it requires our willingness to change our beliefs and examine them on a regular basis. Don't get stuck in what used to be. Don't assign power to money. It has no power. Hold the belief that you are worthy. Understand that money is your tool. Put your head in the right headspace, knowing that money is not scarce and there is no lack, and also recognizing that you are worthy and deserving of money in whatever amount you desire. All right, everyone, that's it for today. It's our independence from money. And as I said, we will be having a class on this where we're really going to get in there and examine the limiting beliefs and clear them, examine the trauma and clear it, and begin establishing a healthy relationship with money that will continue to be ongoing way past this class for the rest of your lifetime if you choose to maintain that mindset. Because remember, you can go to a class and it can be effective for that class period, but if you will not put the work in to maintain the work, maintain the mindset that has been created for you with the help of that teacher and your willingness to participate, it will slip away from you. So stay active in your renewal of that which is good for you. It's so important. Be your own best friend. All right, everyone. I love you. I appreciate you. Happy July 4th for those of you here in the U.S. And until next week, I'm sending you my love.